Hi guys, Svetlana Sotak here, and today I have a super unique pouch to share with you. Now, I designed these pouches years ago when I needed a safe and secure place to keep my pinking shears and my fabric shears in. And as you can see, they fit in perfectly, and the pouch definitely keeps them safe and secure. This pouch finishes at 10 inches wide by 5 inches tall. There is an optional decorative ribbon tab, and the pouch is fully lined. And as you can see, it fits my fabric shears or my pinking shears perfectly. And we will be using one piece of fabric to make our pouches, but if you wish, you can definitely make your pouch out of scraps of fabric, just like I did for this one right here. To make this pouch, you will need 2 exterior panels, 2 lining panels. Both of them are quilting cotton. You will also need 2 fusible fleece panels. If you don't have fusible fleece, you can use low loft cotton batting. All the panels measure 11 inches wide by 6 inches tall. You will also need to print a template for the pouch. There is a link to the template in the description. You will need a 9-inch zipper. I'm using a metal zipper, but a nylon zipper would work fine as well. You will need a 2-inch long piece of ribbon. You will also need a ruler, a rotary cutter, and a cutting mat. Plus you will need fabric shears. Pinking shears are optional. You will need a fabric marking pen, pins, sewing clips, and all the standard sewing and pressing supplies. Let's start by fusing fusible interfacing to the wrong side of our exterior panels. If you are using cotton batting, then just baste the 2 panels together using pins. Here are the panels. The fusible fleece is basted to the back of the panels. Now take them to your sewing machine and quilt it any way you like. I'm going to make a kind of random crosshatch pattern on mine. Both my panels are quilted now, and it's time to cut out my exterior panels using the template I printed out. And I traced it on the freezer paper because I like that it sticks to your fabric. So what I usually do is place the template on the fabric and then use hot iron, no steam though, and just run it over the template. And can you see how it sticks to the fabric? So I'll just run it again to make sure. And I can just keep reusing this template over and over for quite a few times. And it just makes for a more precise cutting. And now I'm going to use my fabric marking pen to trace the template on my panel. Some parts you can use the ruler, other parts I just freehand like that all the way around the template. And you see, this is the nice thing with freezer paper templates, that they don't move. And once I pressed it here, I'll remove the template like that. I have my nice outline right here. And now bring your second exterior panel, place it right side down. It's very important that you place it right side down and place this one right side up, like so. We're just going to cut both templates at the same time. So I'm going to pin the two layers together because I want to make sure that they don't shift and I end up with the panels that are not exactly the right size. So just a few pins will do. And now bring your nice sharp fabric shears right here and cut along the traced line. And this is what your panels should look like at this point. As you can see, they are not, they go in the different mirror direction, okay? Because you need one side and the second size for your pouch. So you want to make sure this is what your panels look like. Now take your panels to your sewing machine and just do a stitch all the way around the panels using about 1/8 inch seam allowance, and that's just going to secure our quilting stitches in place so they don't get undone during the construction. And it's time to cut out our lining. So I already fused my template to my lining piece. I'm going to trace it the way I did for the exterior panel, and then I am going to place my fabrics wrong sides together, pin them in place, and cut out along the line. All right, the panels are now cut out. I'm going to start by folding my ribbon tab in half and attaching it to one of my exterior panels about 1 inch from the top edge. I'll set this panel aside now and work on my zipper. I'll fold the zipper tape right here at 45-degree angle towards the wrong side and stitch along this edge using about 1/8 inch seam allowance because we don't want these stitches to show, just to secure this little zipper tape in place. And I will do the same thing on all 4 sides. I'll trim off my threads and then we'll be ready for to start putting the pouch together. Okay. This is what the zipper looks like. So all the zipper tapes are folded under. So this way it will give us a nice and neat finish. Now I'm going to bring my exterior panel with the ribbon tab right here and place my zipper right side down along the top edge, and I need to center the zipper as neatly as possible. So I want to make sure that I have the same amount of exposed fabric on this side as well as on this side. And I will use my clips, you can use pins if that's what you prefer, to hold my zipper in place. And I'm going to stitch along this edge using 1/8 inch seam allowance, and I will move my zipper pull out of the way as I sew. And now it's time to bring the corresponding lining panel. So as you can see, the lining matches my exterior panels. I will be placing it right sides together. So we'll place it down, line up the top edge, and clip it in place. And I will be sewing along this side because I find it always easier to sew along the thicker side. And I will use slightly less than 1/4 inch seam allowance to stitch along the edge, securing both panels in place, and the zipper will be sandwiched in between. And again, I will move my zipper pull out of the way as I sew. Now I will fold the exterior panel only away from the zipper and stitch along this edge right here using 1/8 inch seam allowance. So as you can see, my lining is right here. I'm not stitching over it, only stitching along the exterior, as that will give me nice pointy corners. And now I'll just finger press the lining out of the way. Close my zipper, and it's time to add the second panel following exactly the same instructions. So I will bring my panel right here, right side up, place my zipper right side down. Again, I will center the zipper, baste it in place, and then attach the lining. So this is what the panels look like at this point, and I'm going to take it to my pressing board and just press my linings away from the zipper to make them stay nice and flat. Okay, my lining is now pressed. Everything is nice and neat, all the edges line up. And I'm going to open my zipper about 3/4 inches of the way, like so, and bring my exterior panels right sides together and my linings right sides together. And I will start clipping my pouch to hold it together. And I always start clipping here by the zipper side, line up these edges, because I want to make sure that this is neat right here. And the same on the other side to make sure my ends right here meet neatly. So I use a clip to hold it in place, and I'll add a few more clips to hold all the way around it here and around my lining. I will adjust my stitch on my sewing machine to a slightly smaller stitch than usual, so I will go with a size 2. And I will be stitching all the way around the perimeter of the pouch, but I want to leave about a 3-inch opening in this lining seam right here, the longest seam right here. So this is, yeah, it's about 3.5 inches. So I'll mark it right here so I don't forget. And I'll start stitching here, stitch all the way around the zipper, around the exterior panel, come back through the lining, finish stitching here, and I will back stitch at the beginning and end. And I will be using 3/8 inch seam allowance. Okay, I stitched all the way around, and I just wanted to make sure to let you know the reason we do a smaller stitch is because we'll be sewing in the curves and you want the stitches to stay nice and tight. I'm now going to use my hot iron set on cotton settings and some steam to set my stitches in place. And I will press this seam open. It's the one where we left the opening right here. So this is the only one that you need to press open. And now I'll take my pinking shears and cut my seam allowance. It will be about less than 1/4 inch seam allowance using my pinking shears. It will help the pouch sit nice and neat in these rounded corners. Now, if you do not have pinking shears, then you can just do little notches like that in here. It takes a little bit longer, but it will work. Just make sure you don't cut into your stitches. And if by accident you cut into your stitching right here, take it back to your sewing machine and restitch it again so you don't have any holes. Now it's a little bit tricky, hard. You're going through a few layers of fabric and fusible fleece, so take your time, go slow. All right, it's all trimmed, and as you can see, I wasn't trimming around here because I need a nice seam allowance here to be able to stitch this opening in the lining closed. So I'm going to place my fingers inside the opening right here and push the whole pouch right side out through the opening, like so. I want to smooth out the lining as well. And here is the little hole that we left. And because the seams are pressed open, the raw edges will neatly fall inside like that. And I will use a clip to hold this opening closed. Take it to the sewing machine and stitch along this edge using 1/8 inch seam allowance. And this way I will close this opening right here. And the hole in the lining is now stitched nice and neat. I'm going to gently push the lining inside the pouch, smooth out all the edges because we want everything to be as neat as possible in here. Add the zipper pull if you wish. And your pouch is now ready. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial and will have a lot of fun sewing up your own scissor zipper pouches.